the real question gripping a nation is to public holiday or to not public holiday in the lead up to FIFA Grand Final World Cup Day on Sunday night. Now, the kickoff is at 8 p.m, so you'd think it would stand to reason that the next day was a public holiday. Win or lose, because being Australians, we'll have drunk our body weight in sherbets. So whether we've won or whether we've lost, I doubt anyone's going to be much use the next day. So here's Premier Minns today saying if the Matildas win the gong, New South Wales will have a public holiday.
If we did do it in Sydney for a big public holiday and a massive ticket tape parade, can you imagine the kind of energy, economic excitement and like it'd be an explosion in economic activity, particularly for the CBDs.
And just to prove that Federation is still alive and well, it's like pandemic politics all over again. Here's South Australian Premier today saying, nah, sod that, it's just too complicated.
There's a cost to a public holiday, there's complexity to a public holiday, particularly trying to do it at short notice. But I don't think we should be jinxing it yet either.
Yeah, we don't want to jinx it. I mean, this guy's clearly quite suspicious. We could be jinxing it if we announce one. Of course, we all know what Albanese would do if it was left up to him. Here he is at the game. You'd think he was part of the team. Well done, girls. Back slaps, hugs. Love what you did there with the ball and stuff. So I think we know how he'd vote if he got a vote. But I still think public holidays like this should happen just as Bob Hawke intended back in 1983. I wasn't even born yet, so clearly he was talking great sense, as leaders of old did. You don't need an official public holiday. You just say this.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
That, of course, was following Australia's win at the America's Cup. We won it back from them after over 100 years of drought. What do you reckon? To public holiday or not to public holiday? I just think, as I said, it makes sense given we all know people the next day are going to be the worse for wear.
So give themselves a public holiday, but don't make it a national holiday. This is typical Labor politics where everyone else pays for their dreams. And so Anthony Albanese wants all the kudos without any of the cost. And it's a silly idea. And if we're going to have a public holiday for the Matildas winning the World Cup, what about the netballers? I mean, they won the World Cup just a week ago.
They got nothing.
Barely a mention for them.
Nothing.
What about the Aussie who won at the NASCARs recently? He got nothing. What about the Aussie cricketers? We won the World Test Championship. No holiday for them. If we start doing this, where do we ever end? Well,
they should have had a public holiday on the Monday after the Australian hurdle this year when I won it with Circle the Sun, as far as I'm concerned. Don't look, I mean, it's easy politics, right? Because in a year when the government's got a lot that it wants to distract people from, it's great to say, well, look, how good are we? The country's bloody brilliant. We're going to give you a public holiday to celebrate a great sporting achievement. The only problem with that is that you've got hospitals in particular at the moment that, because of COVID, are so far behind on what they call elective surgeries, which aren't all that elective really. Like, you've got people who've had bung knees and dodgy feet and whatever for years and years, right? So you declare a public holiday and the surgery on your knee replacement that you've been waiting for through the public system for 5 years, that's scheduled for the Monday after we win, or maybe win, the Women's World Cup, FIFA World Cup, that'll be cancelled. Now, how do you justify to people that their surgeries, all these things that they're waiting on, can't go ahead because we won a bloody soccer competition? We don't do it any other time. If you want to take the day off work because you're going to be on the sauce the night before, that's between you and your boss. Hawkeye got it right. You're quite right, yeah. You know? But seriously, why do we have to go down this road? Oh, it's a public holiday. It's great. We can celebrate it. We don't need a bloody public holiday to go to a restaurant and pay a 10% surcharge just to have a cup of coffee.
Because the thrill of the public holiday as well is being able to plan around it. So people make it a long weekend or even take a bit of leave and stretch it to 5 days, etc. and so on. Springing one on, even if it is just one state, is quite problematic. I'm with Malinowski on that.
Let me give you a controversial idea. The women, if they win the World Cup, they get $6.7 million, right?
Right.
The men, when they won the World Cup, the Argentinians, they got $65 million. So the women only get 10% of what the men get in prize money.
Yeah, because they only raise 10%.
Yeah, but wait, go with me on this. I want to get back to the public holiday. Okay. So if the women get one day, having received only 10% of the prize money, if Australian men win a World Cup, should we get 10 days off?
I tell you one bloke...
The math is good.
I'll tell you a bloke who's not going to get a day off, and that's Barnaby Joyce, because he won't even know that the bloody game is on. Take a look at him today. He was in a pub on Saturday night watching the football. Now, he thought he was watching the same game that some 5 million other people around the country were watching. No, he wasn't.
Well, I went to the pub and watched them on the weekend, but I think, and you'll see it on the Facebook post, I think we're watching the wrong game. I think they'd put on a repeat because it was on Channel 10. I don't think it was the right one, but because when we finished the game, Australia had won 1-0 in full time. So we were like, that's good, still won.
Oh, blimey, Charlie. I mean, I was pretty drunk last night, but I don't think I would have been drunk enough to not realise I was watching the wrong soccer game.
These are the leaders of our country. He probably thinks he's still in government. He's been watching reruns of previous elections.